Hey, yo, what's good with it, y'all? It's your boy, Mistah Wilson, and you are now tuned in to Wilson Block 100 Radio. And today, we're going to talk about how to cross the street, okay? And we got to keep it simple and practical for y'all, man, because, it seems to be going over our head, and I really felt like doing this podcast because, I've been a full-time pedestrian out here, man, and I've walked hella, man, and this is actually something I've been meaning to talk about for a minute because, being a pedestrian the way I have, man, you just, after a while, you just take note to a lot of stuff, okay? And I've taken notice to a lot of things that should be talked about, okay? Let's just say that. And I'm gonna go ahead and start off by saying, listen, pedestrian, and this podcast is mainly directed towards the pedestrians, okay? Pedestrians have a job too, okay? Don't think that just because you're a pedestrian that you get to lollygag across the street, okay? Like me as a pedestrian, I don't lollygag across the street because I know that, in traffic, people got places to go, you know what I'm saying? Time is money, and people making lights, missing lights, and traffic getting held up, gridlock, and all of that stuff. So knowing that, you got to know that, man, people are in a rush out here, and chances are that you could get hit just because there's a miscommunication, or, y'all didn't understand the timing, or people rushing, road rage, and what have you, okay? But pedestrians, when you cross the street, you have a job, okay? And your job is to cross the street safely, okay? And one thing pedestrians need to get better at is when they cross the street lollygagging, okay? Like, understand, when pedestrians try to, taunt drivers, like, I'm a pedestrian, you have to stop for me, and all of this stuff, understand that it's people driving these cars, okay? So while you're a pedestrian, you're a person just like the people driving these cars, okay? And listen, what's interesting is I'm talking about pedestrians being a pedestrian, okay? I'm a driver too. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? And I'll be frustrated with drivers too, the way they be rushing me across the street, trying to make a right and left turn every time, okay? But that'll be a separate video. I really just want to get in on the pedestrians because, there's just a few things that pedestrians need to get better at. And one of those things is, and I don't struggle a lot with this, but I've struggled with it a little bit. When you cross the street, keep your head up, okay? When you're crossing the street, keep your head up, okay? Do not be looking down on the ground. Don't be looking in your phone. Don't be multitasking while you're crossing the street, okay? Because you don't know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? And like even with driving, I say, one of the best ways to prevent an accident is to always make sure that you're paying attention. See, as a pedestrian and a driver, my strategy on the road is to always make sure that I'm paying attention, okay? So that I don't put myself, unknowingly put myself in a situation to hurt myself or others, okay? And, it's real serious when you're on the road and in traffic and on the highways and byways and sidewalks and such, because, there's high-speed chases, there's people having a bad day, paramedics going up and down the street. I mean, you just gotta be paying attention, okay? Know your surroundings. Your awareness has to be there, okay? And here's another thing, pedestrians, okay? Like, here's one thing that I haven't seen any pedestrian do. I swear it's like I'm the only one in the world that does this, okay? But, like, I'm a modest individual, and, when I'm ready to cross the street, if I feel like I'm going to be rushed, I'm going to wait and let that driver pass, okay? And then what ends up happening is there's just, like, a stop-and-go battle between me and the driver because is he going to go, you're going to go, you're going to not, And so, yo, man, when you're crossing the street, pay attention to the cars behind you that are coming up to make a right, and then also pay attention to the car that's oncoming that's about to make a left, okay? And pay attention to, the traffic that the left-hand turn has to turn against. Pay attention to both sides of traffic, because that's going to tell you if the driver that's making the turn is going to rush you across the street. Okay, because what ends up happening is, because pedestrians aren't paying attention, okay, a lot of times drivers, making left turns where there's no dedicated left turn signal, okay, because the pedestrian wasn't paying attention and was lollygagging across the street, the left-hand turn driver misses their opportunity to turn and gets hit with a whole wave of new cars, okay, all because a pedestrian wanted to carelessly walk across the street. Okay, now listen, man, we can't expect everybody to just have it all together. Okay, we can't expect everybody to be out here with the mindset of, let's be contributors to our society and what have you. Okay, and knowing that, that's what we come back down to, you making sure that you pay attention. Okay, and then always look both ways. Okay, if you can hit the button when you cross the street, hit the button. All right, and yeah, man, one thing I don't like as a pedestrian is being rushed across the street. I mean, I just cannot stand it. Okay, and I remember I was on the internet and I was seeing this one intersection somewhere else in the world. It was not in America, but the highway, or excuse me, the street in the intersection actually had loops and ramps, and so it was completely out of the way of pedestrians and foot traffic. And I was just like, wow, like that must be a pleasant place to walk around, okay? Because having to cross these streets, man, it's just, and then when you're crossing the street, everybody's looking at you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just be self-conscious about stuff like that. But anyway, look, real quick and real short, that's how you cross the street, okay? Pay attention, okay? Don't be doing too much when you're crossing the street, man, because it's real time, okay? And you can get hurt out there, man. I don't have to bring up, all the incidences in which pedestrians have gotten hurt in the crosswalk, or even cars have gotten the crashes because of the negligence of pedestrians, okay? So again, man, y'all stay safe out there. If y'all found this content helpful, please give us a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel. The Wilson Block magazine come out every Monday. Make sure you discover the new local talent coming out in each issue. And thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy, Mistah Wilson. I'm out.